happy with probably going through in a tournament with the way we have done.
Unmistakable voices from top to bottom. Correspondent John Murray, Gareth Southgate, Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, Conor Cody and Kyle Walker. Right, Clinton, listening to that, whose opinion, whose answer sort of fits the most with your take on what happened last night?
It's a difficult one. Listen, everyone makes good points. I can understand Harry Kane and the likes of Kyle Walker. They all come out and their interviews after were good. They are still top, but it was a disappointing result, to be fair, performance. Getting booed off at the end is never nice. Warnie will tell you, as footballers, it does happen throughout people's careers.
Why did you look at me when you said
no,
that?
I didn't. I didn't mean to look at you. I meant to look at myself. It's just because you're here with me. But no, Crossy was disappointing. I was just speaking to Warnie there. Nothing went right, and I think Alan Shearer hit the nail on the head. First and foremost, you know, when you cross that white line and you're representing your country, it's a given that you work hard. Those England players yesterday did not work hard. The intensity levels were down. They weren't pressing. They weren't closing down. But at the same time, the Denmark players did it, because when England got it, Denmark pressed them and swamped them. So it was a disappointing result, but it's not the end. You know, a result like this, come the end of it, England could go on and win it.
The big thing for me, Steve, is when you play for a manager, it's like any job. And I know Clinton says whenever you walk across that line for your country, he's got to inspire you, though. There's got to be inspiration. There's got to be something coming from him, a game plan, an idea, an identity. I'll throw one back at you, Steve, and say, can you name the last time England played well in a game? Where you looked at them and went, oh, I can see what they're trying to do there.
In a tournament game?
No, in any game.
He's got him there, isn't he, Crossy?
That's my issue with it, and that's the big problem I have, is that I look at his reign. What is it, 6 years now? And I go, what has been the standout performance? The one that you look at and go, yes, there will be one in there, but we're struggling to find it.
Home and away against Italy in the qualifiers, they were good.
Took your time.
All right, yeah, well,
but
fine.
That's what I'm saying, is it's difficult to find them now, isn't it? And that's my concern with it all, is that after 6 years, we're still looking, saying, where's this England team at? And that's a concern. I mean, when we sit here now, are we actually surprised at what we're seeing? I don't think we are. I think there was major concerns coming into the tournament, whether Gareth could fit in, who he wanted to play in what system. Now he's still got that problem. He's had issues in the left-back position where he's not picked certain people. He's imbalanced the team out. That's his fault, because he's decided to go down that route. So all the questions we're asking before the tournament, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we're still asking now.
Well, the point, Clinton, that's been made about Gareth Southgate in the past is that he is obviously absolutely brilliant at making a great culture and at making players feel a certain way. And we've seen at tournaments, you know, the success that England have had, and they have had great success at tournaments, even though you haven't had that many absolutely outstanding individual performances against big nations. But you can be a great culture setter and at the same time not be as good as the best managers in the world when it comes to how you set up a team, when it comes to how you change things in games, when it comes to your general tactics.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, we know before years ago, England, there wasn't a togetherness. So you got to credit Gareth Southgate. He's brought them together. But I agree with Warnie. Now you've got to start delivering on the pitch. At the moment, they're not bad players. These are all top players that are playing in the Premier League and playing abroad. They're outstanding footballers. But at the moment, something's not quite right. Even when he's making changes, I think even the changes that he's making, they're not right, Crossy. It's midfield. I'm looking at someone now who's been outstanding player, Declan Rice. Declan Rice is playing like a third centre-half. We're talking about England getting up the pitch and pressing. Mark Gay and John Stones can play, you know. They're good footballers on the ball. John Stones is one of the best when he steps into midfield. Yeah. But Declan Rice is having to do so much work that you can't get up the pitch, and then everything's not in tune in my eyes anyway. So, yeah, we know Gareth is good at that, but Warnie's right. He needs to start getting results and performances on the pitch, because yesterday was nowhere near good enough.
Is there an argument, Stephen, and you know, I'm not just sort of defending the England manager and defending the players. We're going to criticise all of them in the ways that they deserve it in the next 40 minutes. But I hear a lot of people saying, oh, well, John Stones does this for Man City. He's not doing it for England. Therefore, Gareth Southgate's the problem. Same with Phil Foden, same with other players. I think it is worth mentioning that is not easy. Gareth Southgate's never claimed to be Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola, and those players do work with those managers week in, week out, year in, year out. So it can be the problem and also not the greatest failure ever, which sometimes it feels like it's painted as.
Yeah, I totally get that point. The one thing I want to make clear here is like, this is a difficult job, a very difficult job to do, because you do have such a plethora of talent where you're looking around thinking, who do you pick and who do you put in certain positions? I think the disappointing thing from all our points of views is that it's the lack of intensity. It's the lack of speed. It's the lack of belief in what we see when you talk about the pressing side of the game. The big thing I look at though is that I'm not just gonna. Well, I'll pick them because they're the best managers in the world, and you pick Klopp and Guardiola. Do you think they would have stood on that sideline last night and accepted no pressing? And sort of hands on hips, arms crossed, and not really barking out messages? I don't think they would have. I think there'd have been changes made. I think they'd have felt the wrath of it, the players on the pitch. I think they'd have felt that from the manager. But again, when Clinton says there about you've got to deliver on the pitch, and you talked about it there, Steve, where you said about Gareth creates a great culture. I think Gareth is an incredible front of house. I really do. I think he's brilliant at that side of things. He's the ideal person to go out in front of the press and be the spokesman, because he